everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
It's JD.
It's Jeremiah.
I will stab you through the goddamned internet.
Listen, you can use my full name, which is Michelle Amaya, and that's fine.
No, I don't really care.
These are legal names here.
This is Jeremiah Daniel, Michelle.
I always forget what your middle name is. I know Jeremiah, but Daniel just doesn't feel like it matches it.
I tried for a little while to tell everybody that the D was because Danger was my middle name, but nobody took me seriously.
I wish your name was Jeremiah Daramiah.
You know what's funny about that is, what's his name? Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. His first son's middle name legally on his birth certificate is Danger. All that.
This baby came out and they're like, man, that looks like a dangerous
Danger's
baby.
his middle name.
That baby's gonna fuck some people up once he learns how to walk and throw hands.
You're right. Oh. Well, hi, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in to We Watch Shudder. If it's your first time checking out the show, thanks. We appreciate it. We're going to talk about some spooky movies. We're going to talk about some other stuff. This one not quite so spoopy, but it's got some things in it. Got a shark.
Does
got some blood and
elements
guts.
of a movie. It's
got some
cast,
people in it. Yeah.
Got some lighting. And
They
some
used cameras. They used cameras.
Music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
It's definitely a film. Well, in case they haven't figured out from that description, I guess we can just go ahead and say the name of it. They might have guessed, but
right, they might have
Beast of
guessed
War.
from. Yeah, it's called Beast of War. It's a war movie, and then it's a shark movie. We're not telling any tales out of school there. They make it very clear from the get-go with the poster on the wall that this is a shark movie. That's kind of the whole angle of the thing. I've seen a lot of shark movies. We did a whole episode about a documentary about shark movies a while ago.
yeah.
That was
I was
your
trying to
cue to
think of
come
what
in,
a
Michelle.
group of I know I was trying to think of what a group of sharks was called because you said it's old school or school of thought or something like that, and I was like, that would be fish. So I was over here googling what a school or what a group of sharks would be called, and it's a shiver.
A what?
A shiver is a
I don't
group
buy
of
it.
sharks. Oh, but it can also be called a school, frenzy, or a gam. So you made a really good pun.
Ooh, I like a frenzy of sharks. That's a good one.
Especially because it's a feeding frenzy. I've never thought that
Yeah.
actually defines the sharks.
Yeah, I
Defeated.
like that. Just like my favorite collective animal name, you might think it was a murder of crows, but that's too obvious. My favorite is a crash of rhinos. A group of
pretty accurate.
rhinoceroses is called a crash, and I was like, yeah, somebody thought that through real good.
I like murders of crows because I'm friends with the crows in my neighborhood, and when they show up in my yard I go, oh no, there's a murder in my yard, and it's funny every time.
Did you ever see
It
that
never gets old.
you ever see that cartoon where there's just like two crows hanging out and it's just caption says attempted murder?
Yes. My other favorite is a prickle of porcupines.
Oh,
Or
nice. Yeah, that's a good
flamboyance
one.
of flamingos. Yeah,
A
those are
flamboyance
both
of
good.
flamingos is pretty great.
Yeah.
Is pretty great.
Yes,
So
they
this
are
is
pretty flamboyant.
this is exactly what we do on this show. Is we say we're going to talk about horror movies or horror adjacent movies, and then we don't.
That's exactly right. Now I'm over here Googling groups of animals, and a bloat of hippopotamuses is kind of mean.
What? That's
But
cruel.
a parliament of owls is hilarious.
Parliament of owls. Yes, a parliament
Okay,
of owls.
I will stop. I'm gonna save this
That's okay.
as a bookmark because I want to go read more of them later. An embarrassment of pandas. Yeah, they are like pandas are close to extinction because of their own bad decisions, so that makes sense.
I also almost forgot one more that I'll mention here because I learned it from the title of a Lowry Brewster movie. By the way, if you don't know Lowry Brewster, he's got some fun stuff. He made a movie called Sure, now I'm going to forget. It's Lord of something, and it's got a guy wearing a great big owl mask out in the woods. Anyway, he also made a movie
Lord
called
of the Rings?
No. Nobody in
Lord
that
of
looks like an
Flies?
owl. No, stop it.
Lord
Let me just
Farquaad?
talk here. I think it might be Lord of
Okay.
Sorrows, but he also made a movie called An Unkindness of Ravens, and I found out that
That's a
way
good
that
one.
that's what the name of a group of ravens is it's called an unkindness.
Yep.
All right. So go check out Lowry Brewster. Check out group animal names, and now let's talk about Beast of War. Michelle, did you know anything about Beast of War?
Yes, and it colored my opinion of this film, which we'll
Okay.
get into in a bit.
What did
Did
you know?
anything? Oh, I knew that this was based on a true story that I know too much about.
Oh, okay.
And then
I
I
did not.
found out that it's based on another true story that I had to go look up. Also, I'm hearing myself a little bit through your headphones. Is that expected?
No,
to-
it's probably just I was sitting too close to the microphone and my headphones are too loud.
Okay, cool. I just you might want to cut that. So I will answer you again. It was based on a real life event that I knew too much about, and I expected this to be something that it was not. So then I did the thing that you do a lot, which is that I have expectations and get disappointed when they're not met, and then had to convince myself, like, no, it's okay that they made something different.
Michelle, I don't have expectations. Expectations are given to me.
Sure. You were really upset about long legs. That's all I'm going to say. We don't have to get into it right now.
Yeah.
But
I was very upset about Longlegs because they created this. We're going to get into it. You brought it up. They created this extensive, like, alternate reality tie-in situation, and then it had literally nothing to do with the movie at all.
hey, you know what doesn't have legs at all? A shark. So this movie, Beast of War, did you know anything about it, JD?
No, here's what I knew. I knew it was a war movie and it was a shark movie. I found out about it when they
Perfect.
announced the January schedule, and other than that, I didn't know jack. But I guess I did look, and I think I looked at Rotten Tomatoes and saw that it was getting some pretty solid reviews. I think it's like 85% fresh on the critics' tomato meter. So other than that, I didn't know anything going in.
Excellent. And that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. That's how it should.
That's how it
know
should be.
nothing.
I should know things.
Fuck a trailer.
I should know everything, and you should know nothing. And I love that.
Yeah,
I like a
that
world
seems
where you
about
know
right.
nothing. Yeah.
You like a world where I know nothing, or where the audience knows nothing?
No, where you know nothing, I feel like that might be a happier world for both of us.
Wow.
It would be so
Wow.
nice to be ignorant.
No, I understand how it would be a happier world for me.
But then you'd be a happier person, and I wouldn't have to listen to crazy ranting.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Coming up on 4 years in this podcast, and all the truth comes falling out right here in front of God and all creation on the Beast of War episode.
For example, if you knew nothing about long legs and you went into it completely blind, you would not be upset about it a full year later.
No, but I think I still wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah, that's fair. I will not contest that at all. but
I'm
you
not
would be
upset. I'm
mad
not
at
upset
them.
about. No, I'm not upset about the movie, Michelle. I'm upset about the marketing.
Okay, that's fair. Well,
Anyway.
that's still one less thing you'd be upset about, and that's a happy
9 minutes. Are we gonna talk about Beast? That's my new favorite thing. Is just like looking at the clock occasionally and being like, "Oh shit, 9 minutes." Are we gonna talk about this movie? 9? We're not.
9.
Okay. Well, good night.
Okay, good night.
We're gonna work that into literally every single episode for the rest of our
Yeah,
lives. Is
we're
that
300 plus episodes into this, and we're still doing it, and it's still funny.
and it's
every
still
time.
funny every time. You're
Murder of
absolutely
Crows,
right.
and we're gonna talk about the movie. No, okay. Do you want to read the description, JD? from
Yeah, sure.
Shudder?
So this is Beast of War. I'm going to give you the Shudder descripty script here. It tells some things, but again, not really telling any tales out of school. They made it pretty clear what we were about to see here. Australian soldiers heading to battle during World War II are shipwrecked after an attack, and the survivors must fend off a giant hungry shark while defending their shrinking life raft. Beast of War, directed by Kaya Roach Turner. I hope I pronounced that
Correct.
correctly. 2025, English language, not rated, 87 minutes. Michelle,
Yeah.
you said you knew some stuff about this story and then some other story, and it
Yeah.
clouded your, or colored your, well, give us your spoiler-free thoughts then first.
I would love to. So I knew about some true stories in particular because I love when disasters happen to people who aren't me, and I read too much about them, and I watch little mini documentaries, and this is one of those things I have too much information about, and we'll get into that into the spoiler-free section. But I expected this to be a little closer to the true story, which I find way more upsetting than this movie was. And then I started the movie and I went, oh, big ass shark, danger to humans. It is just big ass shark, which is a formula we have seen many times. And this movie is two components of films that I don't usually like, which is big ass shark, military people. Those are usually the two things that I'm not a huge
A
fan
war
of.
movie and
Now-
a shark movie.
Yeah, now a shark in the military, not the Navy, a shark in the military, that is something I would watch. Beast of War is a shark who enlists to save his country, that I could get behind. But somehow, despite this being two components of a thing that I usually don't like, I think it's like when a negative multiplies by a negative and becomes a positive. Because once I got past my
interesting.
missed opportunity disappointment, I actually kind of liked it. I would say I did like it. Actually, not even kind of liked it. This is a beautiful movie about really bad things happening to people. And that's great. I love when something is visually appealing and upsetting. And that does this pretty well. There's a lot of good deaths and things happen to people. There's a big ass shark. There's a couple components that I really like that we'll get into in the spoiler section. But for me, I am amazed to tell you that I'm going to give this a 4.2 human skulls out of 5.
4.2 human skulls for Beast of War. Coming
Yeah.
from Michelle, I got to be honest with you, with the early discussion we were having on the movie, I didn't entirely expect that. Or in
I know,
fact,
I
the
like to
early
be full of
discussion
surprises.
avoiding the movie. Yeah, that's pretty great. 4.2.
I'm full of surprises.
420 human skulls.
420 out of 500 human skulls. That might be my new rating because it does work out the same. That's how math is. JD,
Yeah.
would you like to give us your spoiler-free thoughts?
Yeah, so I didn't hate it, but I didn't care for it quite as much as you did. This is a really interesting scenario, Michelle, especially coming from me. It's a two-part thing, right? And the first part isn't so shocking. But this is a movie, it's 87 minutes long. I either needed this to be about 15 minutes shorter or another half hour longer. This is a movie that honestly I saw the potential in, that I could have sat through, and I'll explain what I would have liked more of to get to that point. But that's a very curious thing for me. But I agree with you. I thought there were some interesting characters here. This was an interesting dynamic, and I'm going to suggest something that as we get into the spoilers, that some people might find ridiculous, but I don't know. I got a strong argument for it. That being said, overall, because of where it sat, either being, they either needed to cut a portion of this completely or do more with it. And because it sat right in the middle there, I didn't quite, by the time the shark stuff got done, I had already seen enough of the shark stuff. Again, shark is just as you mentioned, it's one of those tropes, one of those motifs that we've seen done so much that it's kind of hard really to do anything new with it. I didn't hate the movie. I didn't love it. I'm going to come down right on the middle, 2.5 skulls.
2.5 human skulls.
Yep.
What's the average rating of that, JD?
2.5 and 4.2 is 3.35.
Correct. 3.35 shark skulls. Somehow the conversion makes it shark skulls. I don't know how it works. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so If you want to see the movie before we break it down in detail, tell you what we did and didn't like about it with spoilers all over the place, go do that before you listen to the rest of the episode. And of course, for those of you who said, fuck it, I'm not going to go watch the War Shark movie. Oh man, War Shark. That would be a great name for a movie about a shark who goes to war.
Yeah. A shark
Call
that's
it
like,
War
I have
Shark.
to defend this land. I can't handle the way that they're invading. These people have been good to me. They have let me eat in so many of their tourists, and they didn't even mind. They're like, yeah, those are the annoying people. We were fine getting rid of those for you, shark. And then he just like walks on land. Oh, would he walk on land, scuttle on land on his belly, or would he be rolled around in a fish tank but with a gun? I kind of like fish tank with a gun.
I think he would, much like in the celebrated, venerated shark movie Sand Shark, I feel like he would just swim out of the ocean and into the beach sand and just attack from the sand. Like, could you imagine a war shark who swims in the sand, swims right on the edge there, like on Normandy Beach? Like you do like an invasion of Normandy, but then there's also a war shark.
Oh wow, yeah,
Wouldn't
and
that
it would be
some
protected
shit?
from bullets with the sand.
Just-
I think you're onto something.
Just like recreate that opening battle from not Band of Brothers, but Saving Private Ryan, and just like CGI in a shark every now and then ripping somebody apart. Oh, I got a great idea. We got to go do this.
I wish I was talented enough to do that, but I'm not.
That would be so great. Somebody out there listening might be talented enough to do it.
Make Saving Private Sand Shark a thing, please.
Saving Private Sand Shark. Okay. So Michelle's going to summarize the movie for you, and then we're going to talk about it.
Okay. So, are these Army people? Navy people? They're in a sub. Is it Navy? That's the Navy ones?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, they're military men of some sort. I'm going to assume because water, Navy. But if that's wrong, and other military can be in submarines and ships, I obviously don't know a lot about military combat. So just take that with what you will. These military guys, we spend 20 minutes on their camp with them training, and we establish some character stuff, and yet none of that really matters. We know that one guy has morals and ethics, and that's probably a good thing for anybody in the military to have, and yet... so we established one guy's really cool, and he's gonna be not a dick to the other ones. And then we find out that this other guy, he's a dick. And then there's a third guy, and he's really young. So those are kind of the three main characters. And yet it takes us 20 minutes, and we learn about a nurse, and then we never see her again. So I think if you're talking about time that could be cut out, that could have been it. That could have happened on the ship, and I could have gotten a lot of that established in the same way. But these guys are now in a boat, a submarine. They're on the water. They were inside when it crashed. Was it a ship?
I'm pretty sure it was a battleship, yeah.
But is that a submarine? Like, does it
No.
have to be a submarine, or can it be a ship?
No, it was. I'm pretty sure it was a regular ship. It wasn't a submarine.
Cool. It happened inside, and I did not look at the structure of this thing very closely. So
No, and
they're on a ship.
they do have a couple of overhead shots of the boat.
I was not paying attention.
That's the only reason I know. So like, it's maybe actually something people don't know is like obviously submarines famous for really really close quarters, but all of them fucking battle boats real close tight quarters.
I did not know that. I knew that submarines could be above the water, so that's what I thought, maybe submarine above the water. Anyway, not above the water, not like hovering 5 feet above the water. Let's be clear.
That
it's
would
not
be
that
some
kind
shit.
of
Like a
sand
submarine
shark,
that
believable.
comes jumping out of sand shark versus hover submarine.
Which
That's a
completely
fucking
removes
movie.
the sub part of the it's submersible. And now it's like, what is it submerged in? The atmosphere?
Well, there you got it though, but it's the same.
Yeah.
It's two sides of a coin, right? You got a shark coming out of the water onto the land, and you got a submarine coming out of the water into the air.
Oh man, what's gonna go from the land into the water? Gorillas.
Nothing. It's just two things coming out of the water to fight each other
gotta
on other
trade.
territory.
the gorillas go into the water. I think those would be effective, very terrifying aquatic creatures. Anyway, so they're on a boat, and the boat, it explodes. Oh no. And the one guy, he has morals, and so he saves the really young guy. And I should probably know these names, and I don't. You're gonna have to deal with it. I do have IMDb pulled up in front of me. I could look at the names. I am looking at the names, and fuck it, I'm not saying them anyway. Leo, Will, Des, fuck those names. You're never gonna hear those again. So guy with morals saves the young guy, and slowly they start getting survivors together. There's not many. I think there's 7 at one point. And they're just kind of taking the wreckage of this ship that was bombed by the Japanese, and they are piecing it together and making at least something to float on. But oh no, big ass shark. That's right. The Beast of War, she's here. That's right. She's a woman shark, and that makes her scarier.
Well, they're much bigger.
Yeah, I know. I get that. But also, she's pissed. That's why a male shark just gets mad and, like, punches a wall. A female shark, she's going to give you a passive-aggressive treatment. Okay?
Look, Michelle, I know I've been trying to do more non-interrupting while we're doing these sorts of things here, but I would like to point out very quickly that all of that commentary is coming from Michelle entirely, and those themes never appear in this movie at all. I also want to point out that she's the one who made the broad generalizations about women. Please don't. I don't want to be responsible for that.
Yeah. So in this movie, they're like, wow, that was a bitch. I can tell. And no, they're like, man, we hate feminism and let shark attack us. Anyway, no, it's a female because it's bigger, and that's the relevance. It never.
Well, no, it's bigger because it's a female, but
yeah, but like I like to think that's because she was really mad. She's like, "Get the fuck out of my ocean! I just cleaned." Like that's. I added a lot of character to this shark that did not exist in this film.
I love it.
Anyway, the shark. She's hungry, so she starts eating some people. They find a guy with his brain possibly explodes, but they're like, no, I think that's just skin. Either way, he's kind of dumb now. And then one guy, he gets he gets bitten in half, and they see him bobbing off to the side, and they're like, swim to the boat, and he can't because he's been bitten in half. And so you see his torso tilt up, and that's really fun. Are you trying to pause, PJ?
I'm sorry, but it's because the sand shark and hover sub, you accidentally said the shark beat him in half, and that would be fucking hilarious. It doesn't even bite him, he just gets out and starts punching the fuck out of him until he rips in half.
Correction, she starts beating him until he gets ripped in half. She's a woman. She's mad.
That was such a beautiful accidental. She said beaten instead of bitten. Oh fuck. Okay, please continue.
So she beat the guy off. Anyway, then another guy, he gets a leg bitten off, and he was already kind of fucked. He had bandages all over his face, and that's how you know he was fucked. And then one guy, he's holding a grenade, and then he accidentally makes the grenade be dangerous, and then it rolls over, and the guy who lost a leg and wasn't doing very well, he just rolls on top of that, and then splatter everywhere. So people are just dying left and right. Then the one brave morality guy, he is like, I'm gonna go get that motorboat. So he has to be very careful because, big ass shark. So he's trying to like make his way over there on little obstacles and trying to like video game platform this shit. And the shark, of course, shows up. But he's safe. He gets into the motorboat. Somebody else might have died in that case, but if they had a name and were important, I don't remember it, so it doesn't matter. So he gets a motorboat, and they get a rope, and they pull the motorboat in, but it does not work. But then, one of the really cool things about this movie, now the shark has a siren attached to it. And that could have been really dumb, but I think they effectively used it because it sounds so spooky, and then they're aware when the shark is nearby and circling, and I love that because they can't really get away from the shark. It's not like the siren helps them in any way, shape, or form. The shark is always there. They just get to hear it now, and I do love that component. Like, imagine if sharks made above water noise like that. Like, we see the fin, now I'm over shark fins, I need shark sirens. That is a great component that I did not know I was missing. So then there's an airplane, and they're like, the airplane's gonna rescue us, but it's not, because it's the enemy, which in this case is the Japanese. But I do need to clarify that not all Japanese are enemies, just in this movie, because that's what war is. So a plane starts shooting at them. Another guy dies. At this point, they're really just dwindling down. But the other guy, he picks up a gun and he shoots down the plane, which I didn't know was possible. That's a good ass gun. So then they see the plane crash, and now they're safe from that. That's good. But they're not safe from starvation or having to drink their own urine right before it rains, which I'm sure was a relief, and yet also like a real Alanis Morissette, isn't it ironic kind of situation going on there. And I do mean that in the form that ironic is wrong. That's why I'm specifying Alanis Morissette's ironic. Thank you very much. And then I think we're down to 3 guys at this point. The shark eats another one. Oh no, there's 3 guys, and then the pilot from the other ship, he comes rowing up, and they're like, oh, he's a safe guy. He threw his sword in the water. And the other guy's like, no, we can't trust him because this is war. And if war means anything, it's that you have to fight each other to the death, even if you're both doomed to die, which is... Listen, let me just be really controversial and say war is dumb, okay? War is so dumb. Everybody should just band together and not die to the big ass shark. Like, why can't we all be friends, y'all? So war's pretty stupid. So of course, because it's war, now there's a fight with the Japanese pilot. And the one guy who was a dick and kind of sacrificed another person to keep himself alive, he makes an explosion. There's a really big boom, and now he's dead with the pilot. Now we got the 2 guys, and they're in the motorboat, and they're getting drunk, because at that point, that's all you got left. All the peaches are gone. The whiskey's not. Go for it. And then the really good guy, he has a plan, and they have a grenade, and he leaps into the water. There's also a whole backstory of how his brother got eaten by a shark, and that's how he knows so much about sharks, like how big the female sharks are. And so he gets in the water, and he grabs the grenade, and he, what I thought was happening was that he was trying to do the thing that you're supposed to do with sharks, where you punch him in the nose, and that gets them to back off, or at least like not, they find you like, oh, you're fighting back. And I thought he was trying to do that and missed and put his entire arm in the shark's mouth, and it got bit off. And that was hilarious. Until I realized which was actually happening, which is he was putting the grenade deep in the shark, sacrificing his arm. It's a real big risk, Cotton. I'm not sure if I'd agree with it, but it worked. So the shark exploded, and then the other guy, he found a toolbox, so now the motorboat works, so they're going to go motorboat their way home by going on some big old titties. The end. Beast of War. Beast of War 2, Sand Shark. She back. She mad.
She back. She mad. And also the submarine flies for some reason.
Yeah. Hover submarine.
Hover
submarine. Anyway, JD, give us your thoughts on some of the stuff with this movie.
Okay, so here's the thing. You're absolutely right. It's that first chunk that is the crux of my whole argument, right? Because here's the thing about this. Is in that opening setup and watching along with it, like, I was, let me bring you all the way around here, because I don't know, I was reminded a lot in the back of my mind of Godzilla -1. And
yes,
the reason
me
for
too.
that, right,
Yeah.
well, and the reason is I feel like there was enough here that I especially in that first chunk where I sort of got latched into, like, okay, we're going to spend some time getting to know these guys. seeing the dynamics between them, and those nurses, like you mentioned, developing some relationships. Like, I thought after that first chunk, I thought I was about to legitimately see like a movie like a Pearl Harbor or something where it's a crazy war movie, but the big thing that happens isn't just standard war, it's this horrific other thing. In Godzilla -1, it was literally a giant monster. In this, it's a, you know, they get blown up in the water, but then they got to deal with the shark, right? And then when I did, like I said, I knew a little bit that it was based on a true story, and I was like, oh, all right, this could be, I hadn't noticed at the time that it was only 87 minutes long. And then, like you said, it's not even that they transition away from that, because I feel like you could have done that and done some similar flashback things like they were doing with Leo's brother, or kind of building the whole thing together. But they just completely drop that. They completely abandon it. And it's like there's some context given, which I think is what they were trying to do, but I wanted more than just that context because I was really into it. At that point, I was like, okay, this could be a solid character thing with some horrific stuff. And so since I didn't get more of that, I would have rather had none of it. Does that make sense?
100%. Because,
okay.
Like I was saying, there's 3 characters with personalities. There's a guy who's a good guy who would stay behind to help the young one not die.
Right.
The young one who's definitely very innocent and has no idea what he's doing. And then the one who's kind of a dick. And obviously they play those characters throughout the rest of the movie. I would have liked some characteristics that made me care about the other people. Characteristics. It's not just to describe them, it's to make me give a fuck before they die. And I didn't get that. The character was all in those 3. But it was also so, like, well established for 20 minutes that then I felt like we didn't even need that 20 minutes because I'm like, oh, this is all you're going to do with it. That's kind of a bummer.
That was another part of my thinking is you could have, if that's what you were trying to establish in that opening portion, you could have very easily just established that on the boat. This movie could have just started on the boat, and you could establish those archetypes in the first maybe 5 to 10 minutes rather than 15 to 20 minutes and move on. But you gave me this delicious tease of what could have been, again, like a really moving sort of character-driven war movie that also just happens to be a rad, violent, gory shark movie. And so, yeah, that was my biggest thing about it is so then by that time, like, if they had left that off, this would have been like a sleek 75-minute get in, get out, fuck it up kind of a movie. And by the time the last 20 minutes or so came around, I was kind of detached at that point. And so a lot of the big climax didn't hit me. I agree with you on the arc of the characters. I would have liked more arc there. As it turns out, Dez's whole arc is he's a dick, and then his whole redemption arc is, nah, fuck it, and he rolls over and gets blown up with the Japanese guy, right? That's all.
Exactly.
That's what he got.
A bigger thing. I didn't care that he sacrificed the guy who was ultimately a goner. Like, that didn't seem like the gigantic thing, and even the characters didn't seem to care that much. Yeah. So I was like, your whole thing is you're supposed to be a dick, but it not really. Like, kind of. Also, like, that was an interesting character also in that sequence that you mentioned where, you know, the one guy is bleeding out. He's because he got hit with a bullet from that flyby from the Japanese guy. He's kind of bleeding out, and so, like, yeah, Des rolls into the water with that guy, and he pushes him away for the shark to get him so he could get away. But the argument he makes was solid. Like, he's going to die. There's nothing we can do to save him now. He's bleeding out. He's gonna be dead in minutes. And yeah, that's a horrible fucking decision to have to make. But how is it? In that moment, it was and I was expecting Will to be like the furious, like, I saw him do this, and for Leo to be like, look, you know, to come in with that rational head and calm him down and be like, look, yes, it's terrible, but I would have done the same thing, or something like that. There were just all of these moments that I kept seeing that could have been awesome, and we didn't get them. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about some of the fun things here, but also some of the things. My favorite thing in this entire movie is when that Japanese pilot comes through the fog on that boat and he's standing there completely in silhouette and he's got his arms akimbo and he's just holding that samurai sword
And you're like,
he's
God
all
damn it."
backlit and I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing now? Because he's like, I was like, and for a minute I imagined in my head that he was wearing like samurai gear, right? In that shadow, I was like, this is gonna be rad. I love
Sand
that
shark,
shot.
sea samurai.
That's
Samurai!
Samurai! Ah, there it is. There it is. We should make these movies, Michelle. We should. Well,
We
they
have
should
a
at least
whole list
listen
of
to our
movies we got.
ideas.
Yeah, somebody listen to our ideas and make these. That does get into the number one selling point of this movie. This lighting is great. This is the
Oh,
most
yeah.
beautiful shark movie I've ever seen. And some of the stuff, it's like, okay, you just wanted to make a big ass shark and then show us in slow motion how the big ass shark you made is so cool. And I get it. And it is. It is a pretty cool big ass shark, but like even when it starts raining or it explodes or something and we're just seeing the water hit the ocean in slow motion, I'm like, this is beautiful. I don't know if it's necessary, but it is really pretty. And I love the way that they throughout the day, like it's still very foggy. It's not like
Oh yeah.
there's all that smoke around, so they still can't see outside, and I think that's better. It's also a clever filmmaking decision because
Yes.
you can do this in a pool. But it wound up being so atmospheric because instead of looking to the horizon and seeing is there anybody out there who can help us, they can't see that far. We are just trapped in their little world, and that
Yeah.
is the selling point. This is very, very well shot and beautiful. And given that Kaya Roach Turner has done Necrotronic and Sting, I'm not surprised that he was able to do some more beautiful graphic things in this.
Yeah,
pretty
really,
movies.
and like you said, really smart filmmaking. Because the thing of it is it's not absurd because ocean fog is like that. It is dense and thick, and it will stick around for days. The way that guy explained it, because there's nothing to push it away, and you're just stuck in it. Because a lot of times the fog follows the same currents that you're following, is how I understand it. But just a brilliant. You get those. You can backlight so much stuff. The light, just that image of fire coming through fog or smoke, where you get just that haunting glow. Yeah, that was a stroke of genius for this. They did real well. I want to talk about something though that you loved about this movie, and that for me was kind of a bridge too far, and it was that
Shark
fucking siren. Like I was just like, all right, what the shark just happens to get the crank siren lodged into its dorsal fin, and so when it's above the water, it just sort of fucking howls on its own. Give me a break, come on.
I like it. I don't care what you think.
I will say this, I feel like I might have been able to like it more if I hadn't been put into that, like, I think it would be fair to say, and it's kind of ironic, only in an Alanis Morissette way, that you talked so much at the beginning about my expectations, is because this is a point where I feel like that first 15-20 minutes of the movie set some expectations for me that were fair, and so I was wanting that more sort of deep, serious kind of movie, and I think because I was in that mentality, the kind of lighthearted absurdity of the siren struck me wrong. I feel like if this movie had just started on the boat, I would have been able to enjoy that more.
It would have been better if they were on the boat and one guy was just reading a book about sharks that he picked up at the library, and he was like, hey guys, crazy, do you know that sharks sometimes just acquire sirens in the ocean? And they established that fact ahead of time, that sometimes sharks have sirens. And then we had that foreshadowing, and it didn't feel like it got dropped on you. He was just reading a book, and he's like, Whoa, guys, here's some fun shark facts. Did you know that females are the largest and that they generally grow to be between 14 and 16 feet, but they can get up to 20 feet, and that only the females will reach that size? That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? And then, we were prepared for it. Do you know sometimes that samurai just go floating around in the ocean?
That shot was so rad. He just comes through. Now, I do gotta tell you, and this is interesting because I feel like it's a character and what he did would have worked still in that other kind of movie. But Thompson, when he keeps talking about the fucking boat.
Yes.
And because it's so funny, right? It's so funny. And then they get to the sequence with the peaches.
Yep.
And he doesn't say it it's not even in any different way that he says it, but just the tone of it. He says, "No, there's a whole ton more peaches on the boat." Like that's a moment where, like, again, you could have had this big character thing where there was all this anger, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh man, he's got this fucking head injury that's making him all confused and shit, and it was so silly for a while. You know what I thought about for a long time during this movie? The Long Walk.
Oh.
Just that idea of these young guys in this just treacherous situation where they're just slowly, one by one, getting peeled away, which is, again, obviously a pretty clear just war metaphor in general, but yeah, this movie could have been so much more.
Do you want to hear what my expectations were? And it would have actually more aligned with the movie that you expected.
Absolutely, please.
Okay. I thought that this was going to be a movie based on the USS Indianapolis, which is the true naval ship that sank and is referenced in Jaws when he talks about, 200 men go into the water, however many.
The legendary monologue.
The legendary monologue with the numbers I can't remember. But the USS Indianapolis is one of the... I always say one of the, and then like a very large, like an S, like that's one of the biggest, one of my favorites. And in this case, it's probably not true, but I just have a limited vocabulary and I'm kind of dumb. This is just a crazy story of human survival because it starts very much the same, where it's a bunch of military Navy, U.S. Navy guys, and they are on a ship and they get bombed by a Japanese pilot and their boat sinks. And I think there were actually several hundred in this case, all trying to survive, but it was very shark infested waters, and they were out there for a week before I think less than 100 of them got rescued. And the things that they had to do out there was they were getting sunburned, they were starving to death, they were just slowly watching people who couldn't fit up on the rafts get eaten by sharks. And when I learned, I noticed, like, this is not going to be the USS Indianapolis. It's one really big ass shark. And I would have loved so much more of the psychological torment that would be behind a USS Indianapolis story. Now, to be fair, this is based on the HMAS Armadale, which I had never heard of, but is basically the Australian equivalent. It happened a couple years prior where a ship was bombed, again, by a Japanese pilot. Same guy? Maybe. And then a bunch of people got flung into the ocean and had to survive for several days on wreckage. And in that case, they did actually find a motorboat, and some of them were able to set sail on the motorboat. So there's that reality of that. But I went into this, and because the opening especially was such a character-driven thing of establishing who these people are, then I went, oh man, we're gonna have to see these people fall apart for a week while out at sea, losing their minds, dealing with all sorts of infections and people dying. And I thought this was going to be the psychological torment that would come with that. And then the big ass shark shows up, and I was like, okay, well, that's the beast of war. But it does seem like we're still somewhat following the psychological aspect of this, because Tomo is actually very sad. And, like, we're getting some really gruesome deaths, but I'm like, well, maybe they're going to be out there for several days and we're still going to see that torment. And we didn't get that. And so I did have to step back and be like, okay, I can't be upset about this movie just not being what I wanted it to be, because I really want a harrowing USS Indianapolis film, because the real story of all of that and the details that go into it, like, those people were traumatized for the rest of their lives for good reason, and this wasn't that, and that's okay. But I did have to go like, oh, I wanted to see, you know, they can't go in the water because of the shark, and the shark can attack them in horrific ways, but I wanted to see more of the effects of what starving would have, how starving would impact them and make them much weaker. And I don't feel like this took like a day or two, and so you didn't even get to really see them deteriorate, and I wanted to see them deteriorate. It never felt like the gigantic risk. Obviously they're stuck in the ocean, but they're just kind of like waiting, and it doesn't even feel like they care that much. Like, I wanted that story, and I know that this was not that, and I just got my hopes up, but I want a USS Indianapolis story someday.
Yeah, I think that's all very fair, and that's been the difference between Michelle and I for a long time with our scores. Is I want to make that clear. Like, I think this is it's an incredibly well made movie. I when I say is 2.5 skull, I'm talking strictly about how much I was able to enjoy it. It's not a criticism of the, you know, I'm not saying the movie is bad. It didn't get me the way I wanted it to. It is one of the things, in addition to the genius of using the fog, I was really impressed by the fact that a lot of they again smartly set a lot of the real gory stuff at night. But I still feel like it was lit well enough that, like, the gore effects were fantastic. I could see what was happening. It wasn't in the darkness to try and cover up anything. The very judicious use of the shark, where they have, like, we saw a whole body a few times, but mostly it's that giant head that I thought was real interesting and well executed. I wish it had either been more or less, because those things you were talking about, those character moments, I feel like we were getting hints of those all along the way. And it really makes me wonder if this is one of those situations where, because Kai Roach Turner also wrote this movie, and I find myself wondering if, as he was like, when, like, maybe the first draft of this was significantly longer, but it became one of those things where he's like, well, maybe I have more of a chance of getting it made if I trim it down into this other thing, or something. But yeah, it's a good movie, but for me, I could have been hooked on this so much more.
Now that I am through all the thoughts that I can think of about this film, can I ask a question that is so dumb that I don't even want to say it out loud, but it's like one of those things of, like, maybe somebody would laugh, so I have to say it?
Well, Michelle, I don't think it's a matter. I think as soon as you ask me that, it's not a matter of can you. It's now, well, I mean, you have to now.
Yeah, I have to start by giving, like, I know this is really dumb, because if I just said this at the point that I planned on, or didn't plan on, but when it popped into my head a half hour ago, and then I went, don't say that. Don't you dare say that. Especially not right now. Don't you dare say that. And now I feel like if I say this thing and people turn off the podcast at this point, it's fine. They might come back later.
Now I gotta know.
If a female shark gets her period, does she just start losing her fucking mind and just starts trying to eat herself? How does that work?
Well,
I know sharks don't actually experience menses, but this is the thought I had half hour ago.
Did you say experience menses?
Yes, and I phrased it that way because seas as in oceans.
Menzies shark.
Menzies shark. Oh my God! There's a shark and she's PMSing. Get her chocolate.
I went a completely different direction with that. I was like, oh my God, there's just shark in my uterine blood.
Oh my God. No wonder people get cramps. There are sharks in my ovaries.
Oh my God. Oh, so yeah, it's a good movie. Could have been different. It's whatever.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm not mad at Kaya Roach Turner for not giving me my USS Indianapolis movie, but somebody. I will say there are USS Indianapolis movies out there. Those are not the movies that I want. I need a different movie about the USS Indianapolis, especially, let me just say, I am a huge Nick Cage fan, and when Nick Cage stars in a movie about a subject that I care a lot about and I don't like it, then that's a sign that that is not the movie that I would like. There's a USS Indianapolis movie called Men of Courage that stars Nick Cage, and I still didn't like it. So give me the harrowing tale. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm out of ideas and thoughts.
Yeah. No, it's this is one of those where honestly coming into the episode I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, oh, I'm not sure if we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
We always do.
And then we always have a lot to talk about. I do want to make a quick shout out. I mentioned it on our social media, but I saw a movie on Shudder just recently called The Severed Son. If you like a good witchy folk horror religion conflict kind of movie, strongly suggest you check it out.
How many sharks are in it?
Not a single shark.
Damn, I won't be watching it.
Michelle, my favorite concept for a shark movie, even though I'll be honest with you, I tried to watch it and I watched about 20 minutes of it and I was like, nah, I've seen everything I need from this. But there is a movie called Shark Side of the Moon.
You've told me about this.
For the folks at home listening, now, you may immediately be like, oh, sharks on the moon, and you're not wrong. But it's so much more. The Nazis built a secret base on the moon where they did science experiments that turned sharks into anthropomorphic humanoid shark creatures to turn them into super soldiers, and now they're loose on the moon. Shark Side of the Moon.
Instead of watching that movie, I would rather watch the movie, which is the scientists on Earth trying to figure out how they're going to get even one shark up to the moon without killing it.
Look, if the Nazis can get to the moon to make a secret base, they can bring sharks, I think.
I don't know. I mean, Americans have made it up there. Several countries have, and the International Space Station exists, and yet I still don't think there's any chance we're sending a shark up there anytime soon. How's the shark gonna cope with zero gravity in its tank?
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so holy shit, big week next week, guys. New Addams Family film, Mother of Flies. I'm anxious. I'm always anxious, right? But I'm confident. They have yet to do well. They did that movie Hellhole that didn't quite work for me, but I've said it. I told them I feel like what they do is, I don't know if the Addams Family could ever make $1 million movie. Right? I don't know if it would work because their whole vibe is so much smaller than that. Anyway, we can talk about that next week.
I think they could, but it would be a movie where they still give the movie the same amount of budget that they do now, and they pay themselves a lot of money to be in it.
That I'm okay. I would be for. Yeah, these guys. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, we plenty of time to talk about that tomorrow. I got nothing else. I said talk about that tomorrow. It's next week. Jesus, closer. Yeah. It's time. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Oh no, bad timing. Oh, for real though, I guess good night, Michelle. Oof.
The Earth is immune to vampires.